Hello developers, welcome back to all of you. My name is Nikhil and today we are going to explore about call, bind and apply methods of function prototype. Some of you might have already known about prototype. If you don't know, let's have a quick awareness of it. Whenever we create a constructor function, JavaScript engine attach an anonymous object that is defined by a property name called prototype of the constructor function, and we can keep all the properties inside the prototype that can be shareable to all the instances of the constructor function, right? And friend, main reasons and the purpose of using this call, bind and apply method is to bind an object with some outer function. That object can be able to use that outer function. Alright, so let's have a quick example to understand this call, bind and apply methods. For that I am going to create an object named person with properties name Gupta, age 23, right? So here I am going to create some function that can be usable by this person object. You probably thinking that we can write the definitions of that function inside this person object, right? But we are not going to do that. So function ready transactions, just wait for a while. You will let it after a few minutes. So this function will take two arguments. First is callback, the second is operation, right? Based on this operation I will return inner functions, and the operation is just for learning purpose. It will be simple, nothing rocket science. If operation to add contact info, right? Else if operation equal to add skills, right? And the last in the list, if this both conditions will not match, we will show some error message that will pass into this callback function. Basically I pass this callback function to notify after the completion of transactions, right? So let's suppose I want to add contact, right? So we have to call this ready transaction function for this person object. To achieve that we have these three methods: call, bind and apply. So right now I am going to use call method, right? That is the method of the function ready, and we are able to use that function due to the prototypal inheritance. Function dot call, and first we have to pass the function that has to be called after completion of transactions. For that let's create a function notify transaction, right? Status, and this function for to just log the message console.log message, right? So we are going to use this ready transaction function for this object person. Second, we have to pass an argument to this ready transaction function, that is this one, notify transaction status. And the last argument of for this ready transaction function is operation. So we have to perform like add contact info, right? Add contact info. As I said earlier, this function will return function, because here is like we are doing setting transaction to be ready, right? So add contact, and this notify transaction status will only call after this add contact, that is the inner function returned by this ready transaction function, right? Add contact, and here we will pass address, email, phone number, right? Like same, add skills, right? And here operation will be add skills, add skills, like HTML, JavaScript, right? After the completion of both transition, let's log this person object into the console screen. So console.log person, right? Okay, so here we are going to return function address, email, phone number, right? And this address, email, phone number will set for this caller object, that is this person, because we have already bind this object with ready transaction functions using call method. But friend, after returning this function, how this function will know about the caller object? For that we can do in two ways, that to keep the track of caller object, we can store that object to the some variable, or we can bind this inner function with the caller object, right? So I'm going to bind this with caller object, right? Dot bind, right? Basically this is the function, and we are using this bind method for this function. And here also, as an argument, we have to mention for what object we are binding these functions. So we are binding this function for the caller object, right? This. And the another way is, like as I said, caller equal to this. Okay, because we have stored caller object into the closure, we can access even after the return of this inner function of this ready transaction function, right? So return function skills and caller dot skills equal to okay. Once transaction will complete, we have to call this callback function, and this callback function is nothing but this notify transaction status function with some message like callback skills added, right? And same here also, this dot address equal to this dot email, this dot phone number equal to phone number, right? And here also we have to call that callback function callback with some message like contact info added, right? Let's run this code, save it. So here address is not defined because okay instead of passing value, I pass some undefined, not defined variable here. So let's okay, great, save it and clear and run again. Okay, as you can see on the screen, contact info added because this function will function add contact call before add skills. So when this is how we can use call, bind and apply. The difference between this call and apply is that arguments, what I mean is that here you can see, here we are passing an arguments like normal as it is defined here, but using apply we have to pass an arguments in an array. Let's see, apply, and here like this, right? So let's clear and run again. So it will give the same output even you run it as it many times, like as you can see, because the difference is nothing but argument. Here we are passing same as it is defined, and here we are passing as an array. So friend, hope you understand call, bind and apply methods clearly. If you really like this video, please do subscribe and share it to your friends. And if you want to learn more about prototype and prototypal inheritance, please comments in the description below. So bye friend.